David. I like David. David messed up in chapter 13. And then in chapter 14, he got some of that back. And in chapter 15, he gained the rest of it back. But he messed up in chapter 13 because what happened is, no matter what happens, the reason why I say that sometimes worship may not be the thing, because we have to understand that I believe there is like a schematic that I believe that God goes by. And that is, there is obedience, order, then oneness, then there's ability to overcome. Obedience, order, oneness, unity, and then there is an overcoming. So I want to show you this real quick because David gives us a great picture of this. See, people, we can pray all we want to pray. Let me. There was something. During one of those days, there was something that said that it's something to the fact, and Pastor, maybe you can help me with this. It was something to the fact that said that Okay, I'm going to paraphrase because I can't remember the word for word. Some of us come. Something about how we live a life of sin, but then we come expecting God, in our prayer to move. Something like that. It's something, and I can't remember exactly what it said, but we pray right. We live wrong, but then try to pray right. Something like that. In other words, it's not lining up. There is no alignment. Because there is no obedience going on. There is no order going on. So therefore there can be no oneness, not even within you, because there is no alignment with God. And so I was looking at this, and I wanted to just distract a few things from here, because if we're talking about launching out, Pastor Bill, I got the other song right here too. Launch out. Sometimes we hold on a little longer than we should. Woo. Letting go can be hard, but it's sometimes for our good. What is it that we need to let go of? The fear of what's ahead sometimes make us fall behind. We can see times are changing, but pretend that we're so blind. We could go along. Now we sang these songs. So us singing these songs, to me, was an affirmation of what was in these songs. So there's a time for work. There's a time for worship. How do we launch out? First of all, there's got to be obedience. Look here. It says, and David inquired of God, saying, shall I go up against the Philistines? Will you deliver into my hands? The Lord said to him, go up, for I will deliver them into your hand. So they went up. David prayed, he inquired of God, and God told him what to do. I'm reminded in Exodus 33:10, I think it's 33:10 and 33:11, one of the two, where it says Moses and Joshua were both in the tabernacle with God. And Moses left the tabernacle and went down into the camp. But Joshua stayed in the face of God. One was worshiping, one was working. That's just an example. You didn't like that one too much, huh? Well, let's go. I want to show you this real quick. Because David inquired of God. God told him what to do. David did it. He was obedient. But let's go back to chapter 13, though. Because in chapter 13, David did not inquire of God. Chapter 13, verse 1, he inquired of the people. Right? Okay, chapter 1 and 2. And then chapter 3, he inquired, I believe, of the leaders somewhere in there. He inquired of everyone except for God. And then later on, he went back to them in verse 4. Then all this and said that they would do so, for this thing was right in the eyes of all the people. So David learned, first of all, that obedience has to take place. If there is no obedience, there is no power. If there is no obedience, there is no move of God. That's the first important thing. There's got to be obedience to God. Because in chapter 13, David was not obedient. David knew he wasn't supposed to do what he did. What are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about how he set up. See, David, I'm sure he was anxious because it's all about people. Understand, chapter 13, chapter 14, it really is all about worship and prayer. It really is. But in chapter 13, it was wrong praise and worship because it was out of order.